Okay, so guys, can you believe Americans, specifically this man called Ronald Reagan, called Gaddafi a mad dog? The only African president or any president to ever construct a man-made river to make sure that all the 6 million people in Libya have fresh water supply. The only person who set up free education system in Africa. Free medical care in Africa. Gaddafi set up a program where he would give husband and women a free home so that they can start a family. Guys, Gaddafi nationalized the oil of Libya so that the money can flow back to Libya's citizens and the country itself instead of going to the European people. Guys, I always ask myself, Africans, we were colonized. Libya was colonized by Italy then before it got its independence in 1952. In 1952. But guys, Africans, we were colonized, and then for some reason it is us who pay taxes to the same colonial masters. For some reason, Germany was made to pay, for damages after the World War. But for some reason, these people who have traumatized us for years are not going to compensate us. Anyways, back to Gaddafi, because this man was painted the picture of a mad dog, but in all reality, he was going through the same problems any leadership goes through. When Gaddafi nationalized the oil in Libya and the economy started booming and things started going well, definitely that was threatening to the Western people. They had to find a way to shut this person, and so they started painting him as the bad dictator who has been there for 42 years, as if for them they have had 42 years of purity, and they turned his own people against him. So obviously, because they did all that, Libya's economy started shaking and the oil prices started to go down. But in fact, it was Gaddafi who opened eyes of all the Arabic countries to see that, hey, if you take control over this oil, you can control these people. And that shook Britain and America. And so the NATO came together and said, hey, we have to liberate Libya because... So when the people of Libya started uprising against Gaddafi, so many militia groups came up, and basically they were fighting each other. And Gaddafi is like, I'm not going to have this nonsense in my country, which I've built. And he started fighting back literally with force. So Gaddafi was using the military to kill, the Libyan citizens. But what people didn't understand is that even if you eliminated Gaddafi, these militia groups were already existing and they were going to continue fighting. But hey, NATO comes in and is like, we are here to save the people of Libya. We cannot watch this going on. And guys, in October 2011, Gaddafi was killed literally on live television. The operation spearheaded by the USA under the leadership of President Barack Obama. In 2009, Gaddafi had just called Barack Obama the golden boy of Africa. Oh my God.
Hello, beautiful Africa. Welcome back to my channel. This is your presenter and host, Cleanflix. And today, exactly, it is on a Thursday. And being a Thursday, let's take it as a TBT to remind Africa of the great leaders that existed and were really trying to grow and develop and unite Africa until the West and the Europeans intervened and terminated some of the great leaders like Patrice Lumumba, Muammar Gaddafi, and others. But in this case, let's talk about Muammar Gaddafi. The West referred to him as the watchdog of Africa. But this is what has been happening in Libya. This man, Muammar Gaddafi, was really trying to develop Libya. He was trying to unite Africa. The development that happened in Libya during Muammar Gaddafi's time has never been witnessed since the day the West eliminated him in broad daylight in 2011. The US and the NATO eliminated Muammar Gaddafi 2011 because he refused the Western to colonize Libya, to control her resources, to control everything that happened in Libya. He refused to sell the Libyan oil to the West. So the West came out with the propaganda that Muammar Gaddafi was a dictator, as they put it, although no man every man has their own skeletons in the closet, and every man makes their own mistake, and a great leader makes great mistakes, as PLO Lumumba might have put it. But the West came out with this narrative that this man was a dictator, and as every dictator back then, the West and the United States of America and the NATO decided to eliminate Muammar Gaddafi, but he was developing Libya. Look at Libya right now. Conflict everywhere, war, poverty. In this video, let's watch at least some of the achievement that Muammar Gaddafi achieved during his tenure, but the West decided to eliminate all this and take everything away from Libyans. Check this video out, and then I'll be giving my commentaries at the end.
As we talk of Ibrahim Traore, here are 16 things that Muammar Gaddafi did for Libya that will never be done again. Muammar Gaddafi did all these things before the United States of America and NATO took him out. 1. There was no electricity bill in Libya. Electricity was free for all its citizens during Gaddafi's reign. That's number 1. Muammar Gaddafi ensured that everyone in Libya had free electricity. Number 2, there was no interest rates on loans. Banks in Libya were state-owned, and the loans were given to all its citizens at 0% interest by law. Number 3, a home was considered a human right in Libya. Gaddafi vowed that his parents would never get a house until everyone in Libya had a home. And he was achieving that before the United States of America and NATO took him out. Number 4, all newlyweds in Libya received $60,000 from the government to buy their first apartment so that they get help in starting up their family. You understand that? This is what Gaddafi did. Number 5, education and medical treatment was free in Libya. Before Gaddafi, only 25% of Libyans were literate. During his reign, the figure went up to 83%. Number 6, if Libyans were to take up farming as a career, they received farmland, a farmhouse, equipment, seeds, and livestock to kickstart their farming career, all for free. Number 7, if Libyans couldn't find the education or medical facilities they needed in Libya, the government used to fund them to go abroad for it. Not only that, but the government also added a $2,300 for accommodation and car allowance. You understand that? Keep following. Number 8, in Libya during the times of Muammar Gaddafi, if a Libyan buys a car, the government subsidized 50% of the price, meaning they paid 50% of the price for you. Number 9, the price of petrol in Libya was at $0.14 per liter during Gaddafi. Number 10, Libya had no external debt, and its reserves amounted to about $150 billion. These funds are currently frozen globally. If a Libyan was unable to get employment after graduation, that is number 11, the state would pay the average salary of the profession as if he or she is in employment until employment was found. Number 12, a portion of Libyan oil sale was credited directly to the bank accounts of the citizens of Libya. Number 13, a mother who gave birth to a child received $5,000. Number 14, 40 loaves of bread in Libya were at about 0.15 cents during Gaddafi's reign. Number 15, 25% of Libyans had a university degree during Gaddafi's reign. Number 16, Gaddafi carried out the world's largest irrigation project known as the Great Man-Made River Project to make sure water was available throughout the country. This was a leader whose people were made to turn against him. for the selfishness of the West. This is why I keep emphasizing the United States of America and France. We know this story. And leave this guy alone. Leave Traore alone. Africa knows what you're up to. You are not even interested in the lives of Africans. You don't even consider us as human beings. We know what you want. We know what you are interested in. You are interested in our resources. So whenever there's a leader who is doing good for his people, America comes, start poking your nose into our business, and you end up taking out our leaders. We're not going to allow that.
Watch this video.
Did you know that Gaddafi in Libya, nobody is homeless? Listen, everybody in Libya has either a home or an apartment. They call it a flat. Did you know education in Libya is free from kindergarten through college? And did you know that if a Libyan wanted to come to America to be educated, the government in Libya paid for their education? Did you know that? I was there when he opened a $500 million hospital with 18 theaters for operation. I was there, and we went when he was making their own medicines. See, this was a man that gave free medical attention to all the citizens of Libya. And if Libya did not offer that kind of medical attention, they could fly anywhere in the world and get it, and the Libyan government would pay for it. Did you know that? No, you didn't. Did you know that from the oil money, every Libyan citizen got a stipend every year? And did you know that that man had no debt? Everything in his country was paid for. See? Now, when you got a man that did that for an African nation and was trying to do that for all Africa, how do you think Europe felt about it?
Then you asked me about Muammar al-Gaddafi. Like all great men, he made mistakes, and as Julius Kambarage Nyerere of Tanzania used to say, great men make great mistakes. Because when you dare to do great things, sometimes you make great mistakes, but there is a sense in which he also had beautiful ideas. I remember him saying, for how long shall Africa depend on the currency of others? You know, when you travel across Africa, and you have the things that you and me have in our pockets here in Lesotho, you have malot. When you cross the border, you meet the ram. When you cross the border and you go to Botswana, you meet the pula. When you go to Angola, you meet the kwanza. When you go to Malawi, you meet the kwacha. When you go to Zambia, you meet the kwacha. You go to Tanzania, you meet the shilling. You go to Kenya, you meet the shilling. You go to Rwanda, you meet the franc. You go to Burundi, you meet the franc. You go to Ethiopia, you meet a totally different currency. And you go to Mozambique, you meet the medical. And all of our currencies, the 33 of them, are useless pieces of paper. They are useless because, as evidence shows, 80% of all transactions undertaken in Africa are terminated in the dollar. Gaddafi was saying, no, the time has come that Africans must have their own currency, backed by African gold. That is what Africa must be thinking about when we talk about African unity. That is what we are thinking about, and that is what we are talking about.
You see, these people are literally scholars. They know the history of Libya very well. And they know the things that this man did. But hey, why do people normalize neutralizing every good thing that one has achieved in his or her entire career or entire life with one simple mistake? Muammar Gaddafi achieved all this, but the West came into Libya and told the Libyan people that this man is a dictator. We are here to rescue you. The NATO told the people of Libya, we are here to rescue you. They brainwashed the Libyan people and they eliminated Muammar Gaddafi in broad daylight, the year 2011. Look at now how Libya is suffering. The people of Libya have no resources to develop their country the way they did back then. Yeah, why is this happening? Because the West brainwashed the Libyan people. Muammar Gaddafi was simply trying to unite Africa. 33 currencies in Africa. But shockingly or strategically, there is no strong currency, one strong currency in Africa that can clash with the euro, with the pound, or with the United States dollars. 33 currencies in Africa. Muammar Gaddafi was campaigning for Africa to have one strong currency, a currency that will conclude transactions in every country in Africa. So the West saw this and said, you know what? The dollar will always remain the strong currency. We can't allow this propaganda. That is why the US government tried very hard to eliminate Muammar Gaddafi, of which they succeeded. All the oil that Libya was processing, it was sold and the funds directed to development of that country and to the citizens of Libya. It did not export this oil to the West, of which the West were demanding. So the West saw that Africa is the motherland of all the resources, natural resources. We need to colonize Africa so that we can have these resources. Muammar Gaddafi saw this and he said, I'm not exporting my oil to the people of the West. So the West decided, you know what? That is a qualification for us to call Muammar Gaddafi a dictator and take him. But realistically, Muammar Gaddafi was taken in broad daylight because he was developing Africa and uniting Africa. But as the West put it, he was just another dictator. Look at Libya right now. Look at Libya right now. War, conflicts everywhere. People are fighting. Resources are there, but the country still remains. You tell me what to think about this, guys, and subscribe to this channel. See you in the next video, guys.